Hello there. This is going to be a bit of a different episode. We'll just sit down and sort out some things. Just ramble, really. See where it takes us. But yeah. I have things to sort. A room to clean. Etc. etc. A lot of things. More things. Yeah, there's a lot of things. But yes. How am I doing, I guess? That's a good first question. Well, let's just say there's not much difference. Feel just as hopeless as I did a few months ago, so yeah. I guess it's about the same. Yeah, there's more things to sort. I'll bring that out later. Now that's the pile we have. And these are the cheap ass bin locker things I got. So yeah. How does one even do this? And also there's like Lego in here. What the f... They got Mindstorm stuff in here. Yeah, I really need to sort this out. Oh yeah, speaking of these, I don't think there's much in here I could sort out. This is just miscellaneous structural parts and one-off components. So put that to the side. And this is yeah, what is this? Let's just keep it on the pile. Yeah. Then we get to the interesting stuff, which is just tons and tons of plastic bags, and who knows what's in those plastic bags. And here's more plastic bags. So yeah. And then we have salvage components in the bottom box, I think. And that's about it. some space. Let's get the yeah, there you go. Also, there you go. So yeah, get the shot up. Also, first time doing a DVLog live. And yeah, speaking of, how they could say is just and meh. Let's get this share. Out of the way-ish. And let's start at the bottom, I guess. What should I put in these big boxes? Who knows? How about the breadboards? Should I enter the breadboards? Nah. Our headers here. These fit together. Nice. Where should these go? Headers go there, I guess. An whole bag of headers here. Maybe I should address those. Oh boy. Yeah, let's have them separate. So there's male and female in each, in separate boxes, I guess. But yeah, life is going really slowly. Like, unfathomably slowly. And to be honest, like, I don't know if this is just... I don't know if where the symptom is coming from that I'm about to say, but it might be because it's heading into winter and it's messing with the daylight, or it might be because my condition is actually getting worse. And the symptom is that my sleep schedule is now non-existent. It literally doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it's 8 a.m. and I've been up for 4 hours already. So yeah, just to give you a clue. These doesn't really fit. Yeah, tell you what, I'll just keep the breadboards out for now. And instead put the empty breadboards in there. There we go. One breadboard worth of parts in there. These do have that plastic flap. Does that mean they will? So it's not faultless, but it does mostly work. Okay. I guess I can put these chips in there for now. This is just trash. Close enough. Trash. It's all trash. Just like my life. Just trash. Alligator clips. I guess you can start putting them in and then you swap them around to get what you want, I guess. So let's just start doing that. Which means it goes in there. Which means, oh boy. Oh boy. There's a diode and a forget, I'll just leave that in there. Oh boy. I like that. Goes in there. That's the same display as that. There. Turn it around actually. Dirt. guess I could have a box for Lego related electronics, like these two, or just put it there for now. Sure, perfect. Put that in here. Maybe that will scratch it. Oop. Yeah. Make that folded over. That works. Put that in the box. Optics. I guess that one will be. Sure, then this will go in there too. Along with that and that. A lot of optics related things. Parts I need. There's a joystick. Oh. Sawn up proto boards. Those can all get their own little assembled sawn up proto board. I guess can get their own. Nah, let's just put it there for now. Unless I get more. Let's pop that in and that in. I guess I could have a. Ooh, that's scary. I guess I could have one for broken boards or unused small boards. Here's a pot. No idea what value it is. I guess I can dedicate a bunch of boxes for servo parts, since I have so much of it anyway. So let's do that. Yeah, let's make a row for that. For those. Servo screws. Or and for those, whatever those are called, the half arms. I have a bunch of them over there. Let me go get them. Ow. Ow. On the mic. There we go. Oop. But yeah. I thought I would have more to say, but yeah, apparently it's nothing has changed. Apparently, that's the words I was trying to formulate. Gonna have to have a box for plastic baggies after this. For some of these, they really don't like. They really have an inconsistent number of parts. Oh, these two are different. I see. Fine. Have another box for that one. Three fastening screws in that one. Just look at all of this. So much stuff. And here is it fucking miserable. Baffling. I really can't explain it. Question is, what would I do without the servos? So we get that big box. But yeah, the closest I could get to put it into language is guilt. Like in every sense of the word. Guilt for not appreciating things you should be appreciating, like all of this stuff. Guilt for taking for granted. Guilt for letting yourself down. It's just guilt. Guilt over the inability to better yourself. Guilt over the pandering. Just guilt. Overall guilt. Guilt. I often feel like I do now. It's like it's not distraught, not sad, not happy, not anxious, not suffering, not anything. You just am. I just exist. No rhyme, no reason. No point. I'm merely an observer on this vessel of time. There's nothing I can do about it. Kind of like exist knowing my existence is hopeless. Or something, I have no idea. Language is weird. What's this? Clear plastic short tube. Yeah. Put that aside. Let's not deal with that. Let's not deal with that. Actually, that should be there. Yeah. That's all those, I think. How old are these? Let's make sure I didn't. Perfect. Let's arrange them like so. Nice. Yeah, how about these things on these boards? Probably have to unpack them all. Can I like fold them? It's not gonna fit very many anyway. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Five total. I mean, in this state they will not fit in there, but if I unpack them, yes. So let's unpack them. That's how you do it. Stick in there. Actually, I need a trash pile. Sure. What if I stack them up like that? I'm sure it will work. In a way, this is like a mass unboxing. Or unpacking, I guess. Let's put that the same orientation, sure, why not? And that too, same orientation, so it looks neat. And then let's pray to the gods and just jam that in there. Or perhaps not. Perhaps in the back instead, where there's more room, because there's no handle. How about doing this, taking it out, stacking it up. Then there you go. That fits. Perfect. Haha. I have these ESPs. Or there was, yeah, there's 3. 4. Where's the 5th? Or did I only buy 4? I may have only bought 4. That's an entire possibility. My phone is gone. Whatever. Leave that where we're going. For some reason I suddenly got Country Road in my head. Why you do this, brain? Why? Why? Why you do this? Why you have to be doing this? Got a bag of USB ports. question I have. Yeah. That's a bit off. How many servers did I have? Will they all fit in here? Maybe. Oh yeah, actually maybe. To stack them all up shouldn't be a problem. But okay. I mean, that fits alright. At least the motors, the actual servos. I wonder if the... Oh god, it's all coming apart. Okay, let's rotate everything then. Fine. Let's redo that. Okay, let's just jam it in there. There's no point in being finessey about it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't want a situation like that. There you go. Let's get these ISPs in. That was an ISP header. I need to get more ESPs. I have more here. Oh, I need to get more ESPs. Wow. Ah, there's an ESP. Like 3 of them. Bigger head. At least 2 of them are gonna be eaten up in projects real soon. I kind of want to have an oversupply of those. I guess I should put these in there. There's this. And this. Oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't be mashing the microphone with my mic. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can't handle that, correct. Big sigh. Big melancholy. Yes. There we go. Please be power boards. Please be the 266 minis. A bunch of headers for them. Nice. Why are those there? Ooh. A non-functional board. I'll put that right over there. I guess I could have a box for small wires. So let's straighten wires for a bit, I guess. That's my phone, so it is. Oh, wait, there it is. I found it. I found it. Yeah, now is when I should wake up. Gives you a sense of my sleep schedule. How corrupt it is. Are they still wires if they don't have insulation? Or do they become jumpers as soon as you take off the last piece of insulation? I don't know. I'll keep them separate because yeah. Not even in the windows back. Wonder where the heatsink to that went. That one has been through a bit. There's a lot of stuff to sort. Yeah, I'll keep those in the sandbox for now. And stop switches, it looks like. With appropriate fasteners. Two LED drivers. Ooh, those are quite weighty. Maybe I should just put these in these for now, since I only have two of them. Good enough. One of these. To the side. Wow. I'm surprised that did not break. from that. And I'm squashing the microphone again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can't even remember that. Incompetency, that's just me right now. Or at least self-blame. That's me right now. Something stuck in that pin. Something stuck in that pin, wow. Stuff stuck in these. Put these there. Sure. Let's go there. Is this still there? Barely. Nice. Trash. Oh boy. I forgot about these. These are microcontrollers like these two. And small. And there's an OLED here. Dump that up with these. Dear phone, I dismissed it. That means you shouldn't do it again, you pleb. All alarms off. Thank you. Wow. That means that can go in there as well. There you go. LOL. So it needs to be sorted in Dropbox, which means there you go. Let's see it. Why is that with so many of these servers you get mounting screws, but no, like screws to hold the thing onto the thing, hold the arm onto the server. Oh yeah, I've been singing a bit more lately. That's about everything. And I've been commenting a bit more lately. So in that sense, I guess it's going forward. Yeah. Wait, is this the power board or the... Okay. Put that in the bottom if I ever need it. Probably not though. This converter's can go there. Speaking of, I think I have maybe some boost converters somewhere here. Maybe in here. Oh wow. No. that can be useful as an FTDI breakout, basically. Yeah, nothing in there. This battery might be going bad. It feels kind of spongy when I press it. Doesn't look too bloated though. Keep an eye on it. This is just going to be a bunch of heat shrink and photo boards. One of those, okay. Heat sinking, oh, nice. Yes. Yeah, I'll keep storing the heat shrink in here. And why is everything leaking out of something? What is leaking? That thing is leaking. Oh wow. It's leaking heat shrink. Oh god. Oh boy. Yeah, that's not gonna really see that proof. If I put that in here then. It works. Ish. Okay. Okay, so all the heat shrink, I'm not gonna put that in there. I can just leave it in here. Like that, I guess. On these boards here, I think I'm gonna put in here somewhere. Actually, let's keep them in the plastic bags. Perfect. Ow. Here we go. Here's the real deal. Oh. Those. Okay, there we go. We have some protoboards, two of them, that are not cut up. I guess I'll put them there. I got a bunch of let's see, those. These are audio amplifiers, these are also stepper drivers to which these belong, these two. And these are new style motor drivers. These are just too bad. Let's just open it. There we go, those two over there. Next to that. Yes. Yeah, sure. Those can do that. Yeah, these have just been laying around, collecting dust, doing nothing. Because I don't have time. The little time I do have is spent grieving. Basically wasted. Wasted time. Wasted opportunity. And again, regrets that it's wasted. Regrets that it's a missed opportunity. Every single day. But it doesn't nag on me anymore. It's just there. It's kind of like that one dude that keeps insulting you. Eventually they're just like, fuck off. Kind of like that. That's how I feel to everything. Just, fuck off. Couldn't care less, essentially. That's one way to drop it. Yeah, I still don't want to do that. Doesn't really make sense. But what does make sense here? Nothing. Yeah, so there you go. My sister's in there, sure, why not? Ow. Ow. My foot. Ow. Ow. What's in this? I think I already looked in this, didn't I? Yes. So yeah, that was the first pass through, and I filled up 2/3 of one plus the base of the other. Both bases are pretty much full. Yeah. I guess I could put this battery here. And yeah, the key to this is to just go through and sort in and combine or split out things until you feel it's using enough space and not using too much, but it's still organized. That's how I would do it anyway. Yeah, the quality on these aren't the best. Yeah, whatever mold made this failed soon after. Or, well, I don't know how badly a mold can be before it needs to be put out of service, but it was a huge, like, overflow. Yeah, there's lots of plastic waste on all of these handles. It's cheap. It works. That's all it needs to do. All it needs to do is hold things, and that's what it does. The only little problem is that. Tilt it forward and you're fucked. But I guess that's the case for most of them. Oh, wait, there's like a... Huh. And there's like... Nah, I'm just stupid. Probably. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to live with it. Just gonna have to learn to live with it. My OCD is gonna tear me apart. It's gonna be like, it's not on the same level. Like, imagine a shelf that looks like this. That's kind of what OCD does to you. It like brings out the inconsistencies. And it's like, you must fix it. Yes, yes. These apparently also stack. Not really though. It wants to stack either to the side or, yeah, to the side basically. But you could have it like that. Yeah. I have not much more to say. Yeah. I will go through it again and try to sort in more things. Find out the crap to sort in there from around there. I know there's lots of things on the shelf over there somewhere. There's probably some things over there. Maybe some things over there in the red. Yeah, the red cabinets. But yeah. But yeah, I thought I'd have more to say, but yeah, sometimes life just flatlines, I guess. Even when you're actively trying to have it not flatline. Anyway, goodbye.